Abusia madam was said the piano, I bring na me video, I'm with bread and more Yamin Shamu because you buy and chair, but said you're more videos now, more like and I'm commenting on my need a sodia moye a boy ready. In short, Munina, not me, also a catch or say, aha, a possible TV. So, and then they can have possible TV and side and say, may best also be subscribe, be like it. We are now commenting video, so not your we should be on West BB, Eddie, a free mobile. I'm a person, Mr. Wadajan, Banco Adropo, as usual, in Teen Sama.
Kufadu and Baumia talked about crumble in the space of, let's say, 6 months. I mean, they were waxing lyrical about how strong this economy was, and things have never been so good for Ghana. I mean, how come within 6 months of just a coronavirus pandemic, the whole economy has collapsed completely? We are facing the worst economic situation, probably in the entire history of, I wouldn't even say probably, in the entire history of the Fourth Republic. The economy has never been this bad. And you see, when you have a hole and you're hiding it, you understand? Eventually, when reality catches up, you will find that that hole will be exposed. There's been a hole in this economy, and I've kept saying it. This is not the first time I'm going to say it. The finance minister, who is the cousin of the president, has been cooking the books since 2017. He has this way of, and it's the first time we're having this strange presentation of budget. Our budget numbers from 1992 to date are the budget numbers for everybody, for Parliament, for the International Donor Organization, for everybody. And those are the numbers that are presented to the world. This finance minister comes and he has liabilities, big ones. Instead of calculating them and putting them in the budget, he brings them to the bottom and puts them at footnotes. And so he doesn't factor them in the budget. And so he can give you a deficit number that looks good. He can give you a debt to GDP ratio that looks good. You know, he can give you, all his other fiscal statistics that look good. But as soon as you add the liabilities, one was the financial sector clean out, and two is the energy sector debt. The energy sector debt, today he owes the independent power producers alone $1.5 billion. $1.5 billion. Those are the figures he's now put in the budget that are showing the kinds of numbers that are, and so he's been engaged in subterfuge. And sometimes very criminal subterfuge. I'll give you another example. In 2019, they didn't meet the domestic revenue target. You know what Oforiatta did? He made GRA go and borrow money from commercial banks and presented it and said, we met the revenue targets. So when coronavirus struck, the commercial banks have been deducting the loan that they gave to show good figures for 2019. That is why the economy is worse than it is, because any revenue that comes, the commercial banks are taking their money back. And so some of these things have been very criminal, and I'm surprised that Professor Ade, as chairman of GRA, could connive to do something as criminal as this. The president knows about it. He's done nothing about it, And so, yes, the economy is in a bad state. We handed him a much better economy. Growth had been projected at 8% for 2017. They had nothing to do with that growth. It had been projected. World Bank, IMF had all said that in 2018 the economy was going to grow at 8% because of the work that we had done in 2017, because of the work that we had done in 2016. I left him $300 million in the stabilization fund for a day such as this when Corona struck. And the stabilization fund is used to ameliorate economic shocks. And so I left him $300 million in that fund. I left him $270 million in the sinking fund, so that when the COFOR Eurobond became due, there'll be money to pay for it. I left him $270 million in the Ghana Infrastructure Investments Fund. I left him 2 new oil fields, revenue from 2 new oil fields. All the development of infrastructure that I did in this country in my 4 years as president was with only the Jubilee field, 1 oil field. And even then, 1 oil field, there was a problem with the FPSO turret. And so they had to reduce production. And so he's got 3, 4, 5 times more oil revenue in his period than I got. But what is there to show for it? Virtually nothing. And look.
Ekiani Oka about Gabi. Bomti finance minister. President Mahama, every film said all when lose election crowd or sign box site. Emmanuel Ibrahim. Waka Bomti Gabi. And now Emmanuel Ibrahim. Unyanam enuma omaya wogana. NDC ni bi ba in China ohia mwabi na kasa na unko President Mahama ho was muminia. Emre wo parliament. Na de bi obebo bisia welfare NDC welfare. No obebo bisia. And net President Mahama ubaye vice president. You are the richest person in NDC. That is why NDC force say Obiba contesting because on Pesikadama. President Mahama ya 2001 ye call parliament. No ko Bob from NDC for welfare account and we go to. How comes our vice president? Ever president one term. You are the richest person in NDC. All big businesses are a common. Nientia NDC for bufu ya omu tutia mo anoma nkotwaba. Hey wo Mahama ni obusuafo. And na wo mom obetimi abeka Akufo-Addo die. I am not condoning Sasana Akufo-Addo yeah, they should be punished for it. But you should equally be punished for what you did because you did worse than Akufo-Addo in obusuafo. Ko die no me 25. Minyo could be a friend of Peter Insia. One last born, Adams and Mahama Okudzeto. Eko G akwani sika oko boom. Now all you see Mahama need to intimidate Peter. Ewo New Jersey. When you are in Nipa Kasa, unia bani fia osiwo Airport Hills. Said what? We know everything, but you know, I'm not envious of anybody. No problem. But Ostatino Kasa, as if say we're Angela, we need to talk. Ghana for why MPP especially? Why should I be doing Yabuabin's job? This is the work of Yabuabin. To come out as a communicator, director, to respond accordingly. And I'm responding to Mahama for you people to see what you say. I'll say, the secret in say. Ono Mahama Emra 2016 no budget no of financing without donor support everything domestically. He did very well. But Muntia what Mahama did, he introduced over 20 new taxes. He introduced over 20 new taxes. None of 20 year Muamusi he left Munti be done. Abro anyway a team. NDC from Pagan a year. The very thing or say or every year domestic finance and analysis a year budget taxes. One koji Bibian a taxes. Namunje the taxes no. From 8 years of Mills Mahama 2009 our mobile to 20 now Ghana taxes are GG 499 yes 9 billion. The increase is 577.5%. Taxes increased. And the increase, he did not expand the tax net. The very few people now omutia taxes. Taxes. He was burdened. They were burdened with Mahama's taxes. Now, Onipana was saying, Yadi levy baya Monty be done in TNE. Now, at ye, am I free? First, I say increase in VAT rate 2.5%. So far, you are one. Imposition of 5% VAT NHL on real estate 2014. Imposition of 17.5 VAT and health insurance on pharmaceuticals, 17.5. Abolition of 3% VAT flat rate scheme in 2015. Imposition